Okay, today we'll be installing a Fleece bypass kit for a 2003 to 2005 Dodge Ram Cummins with an automatic transmission. This motor has been taken out of a manual truck, but everything we're doing is converting it over to an automatic transmission. You can see on this side we still have the transmission cooler, the transfer deal. I'll show you how to install the caps on these later on in the video. Then here's where your rear freeze plug would go, the bracket that bypasses the kit. Here's your hose that routes up to the front of the motor. And I'll explain this a little bit more later on in the video, but we took this particular hose off of the manual truck so we didn't have to use the hoses that came in the kit, just to make it a little bit easier on us installing this in the truck later on. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to leave a comment and I'll pretty much answer anything y'all ask. Okay, so one of the first steps to installing this Fleece coolant bypass is you have to knock out this freeze plug. You can see exactly where I was hitting it, and what it would do is it would twist like that. Then you just come up here with a pair of pliers and you can pull it right off. Remind you, it'd be a lot harder when the engine is actually in the truck. This one here was already pulled, so it made it much easier to already do. Okay, after you knock out that freeze plug, next thing you're going to do is sand off any debris that's caught inside this plug where the hole is. Sand it down on all sides, make sure it's bare metal, there's no paint, debris, or rust anywhere on it. And then you'll be good to install the actual plate that goes across the back here. Okay, the next step you're going to want to do to install this back plate that goes along the back of the motor where your freeze plug used to go, you're going to want to put simply lube, oil, whatever you have to lube up this O-ring that will slide into the outer portion of this freeze plug. So it's pretty much just going to press in just like this. Okay, once you press up this back piece into the freeze plug, you're going to tighten these two bolts right here with an 18mm socket. Make sure that this outlet here is facing towards where your manifold will go. This one here has been taken off so we can do this video a little easier. Okay, next thing we're going to do on this side is you're going to have these 90s here. I've already pulled the clips off of them. All you have to do is have a pair of pliers, squeeze them, and pull them off. They're a little difficult sometimes to do when the motor's actually in the truck. So you pull these here off, and then Fleece is going to send a little bag of plugs. It's also going to have this metalish looking one that's going to go right back here. This is a manual motor, so it's already been plugged. Then you come over here and you're going to install the plugs. Okay, to install the plugs, all you have to do is just press them on just like this. There's top one, and then don't forget the bottom. They're installed. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do to install the bypass kit is you want to install this front spacer. What you're going to want to do is, once you have the thermostat pulled out, you're going to clean the inner edge all the way around until it's bare metal. There's no debris or anything in the way of it. You're going to want to use the Scotch-Brite pad that they included. Be the easiest thing to do. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is, wait one second, one piece. Set the thermostat in there just like this. This is the old one, I don't have the new one yet. I'm just kind of showing you guys how it goes on. Then you'll have the spacer. Make sure the O-ring is facing up. It's pretty much the only way it can go. And that this here is facing back towards your line. Okay, then the next thing you're going to want to install is this. For each one of these bolts, it's a 10mm. and you're going to want to torque it down to 89 inch-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, just barely snug them up. Don't over tighten these. Okay, next thing we're going to do is install this tube to the front portion of your spacer. It'll slide right into here. Tighten up. It'll be a little bit easier to do this if you pulled had the spacer out. That's one thing I forgot to mention before. That's what's kind of bugging me right now. I can't get a wrench between this puller if you're gonna pull the engine out. And then you want to tighten it up back here too on the back of the motor. Both of these here are going to be 1 inch. A 1 inch wrench will tighten these up. And then on the next thing is these brackets. You're going to install the first one between the second and the third exhaust port. It'll go right into there. You'll see a freeze plug right here. It'll go right above it. And then you'll have these two clamps right here. You're going to back these completely out, slide the tube in, and push this in. And these Allens right here, they are 3mm, and they'll tighten those up. This here's what those brackets look like. I was going to use this bolt, but then I realized I accidentally bent it. It's a little bit bent. It won't go into the cylinder head at all. And then this one here will go about right here between the third and fourth cylinder, exhaust port. And that should just about finish this portion of the video up. Okay, next thing is down here is where you have one of your coolant tubes that routes what would normally route all the way behind the engine. We pulled this here tube off of a manual truck, so it would already not have this fitting coming out here on the side. I can show you that here in a second. What you're going to replace yours with is this longer, pretty much piece of tubing. There's going to be a larger end on this side and a shorter end on this side that would go into the firewall on your truck for the heater. Then you take, let's see, 1 second. This clamp here loose and put this fitting into the sleeve, and then put the clamp back. And it would route up kind of like this on the side of your motor. And then you would have a clamp. There's a bolt hole somewhere in here. I'll have to show you that here in a second. Right here is where you'd put another clamp on this. Okay, this is the truck that this bypass kit is going into. Okay, so up here, I believe it will be the lower one. You're going to unclamp it from here, and the end of this tube will plug right into there. Okay, this is on the motor that was pulled out of that truck particularly. There's the other motor that I've been showing you everything on. So this is the tube that goes behind the block, and that you'll be deleting by putting in the other tube. Where did I put it? There it is. So it will pretty much route up just like this. But since we had the manual one already, it deletes this entire portion already.